friends and welcome to my bookshelf organization video for 2026. I recently moved into my new house. As you can see, we unboxed almost all of my books and put them on the ground. I feel that now it's time to actually put them on their rightful place on these amazing IKEA Billy bookshelves. The bookshelves are like the main feature of my living room. They take a lot of space. I want to make them feel and look as cozy and magical as possible, especially just before the Christmas time. I'm currently filming this at the end of 2025, just before Christmas. Not only I want to make them cozy for Christmas, but I also want to make them ready for the new year. So I would suggest make yourself a lovely cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I'm currently drinking a ginger lemon orange tea, which is actually really good. It's a new flavor and I'm really enjoying it so far. But make yourself cozy or comfortable and let's organize together. And hey, if you're new, hi, my name is Juliette and let's become friends. You can always join our little community and join us on weekly videos based on books and cozy way of life. Of course, I have thought about what I want for my bookshelves. So I have a little plan in mind and my idea is to kind of like recreate a little bit the bookshelves from my old apartment. I had like the same bookshelves over there because I did like a full reorganization of my bookshelves about 7 months ago. And I was very pleased and happy with how everything looked. There are a couple of bookshelves that were absolutely my favorite. So I'm planning on recreating my favorite bookshelves and then kind of like toy around with the bookshelves I was least pleased with. Maybe rearrange a couple of things on them as well. So they will look mainly the same with some slight little changes on some of the bookshelves I was less pleased about. But before we are going to dive into all of these books, I actually have one more box to unbox. And I know this box contains fantasy books, like my all-time favorite genre. I just don't know exactly what books are in here, so I thought let's simply find out together right now. And of course, Sissy is joining us for this little bookshelf organization. She's a little bit tired, so she'll probably just stay on her chair and sleep mostly, but she'll be here. So here we have the box, and as I said, it's like mostly fantasy books. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be romantasy or simply adult fantasy or even young adult fantasy, but we'll find out right now. As you can see, this is like the way I pack up my books. I have unfortunately a lot of experience in moving. This was actually my 5th move and my 2nd move in 2025. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, I move a lot, but for now I am planning on staying here as long as I can, possibly really, because I bought a house, so I'm not going anywhere. But this is the way I kind of like pack up my books. I use some paper to fill up little places that are left open, and I wrap in as many books as I can. Ooh, this is so good. I love this series by Sarah Beth Durst. The Queens of Rentia, the Queen of Blood, the Reluctant Queen. These are so good, you guys. Like if you read anything else with Sarah Beth Durst, for example, The Spell Shop, take a look at these. These are a lot more gruesome, but they're really, really good. But as you can see, I really like to pack up my books very well, as much as I can. Simply because there are a couple of books, especially my fantasy books, I will always love to keep them in a great shape as much as possible. So yeah, I do wrap them up actually. Here we have the 3rd book in the series, The Queen of Sorrow. This is actually one of the books and one of the series that is probably going to be in here completely. That I'm not entirely sure if I'll put them back on my bookshelf. I'll see if I have the room, but otherwise they're probably gonna go. I'm not entirely sure if I want to keep this. I really enjoyed book 1, did not enjoy book 2, and I have not read book 3 and 4 yet, but I do own them. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to do with this series. One of my favorite series and one of my prized possessions, because these are the Illuminate special editions from the Bride of the Shadow King by Sylvia Mercedes. Absolutely amazing. So as you can see, it was mostly romance. It was actually inside of the box. But these are all the books that need to go onto these shelves. So now that all the books are unpacked, I think it's simply time to put everything on its place. Here we have the bookshelves, and my idea, as much as I try always, to organize my bookshelves is by genre. I don't do it like on alphabetic, or I try to do it on genre as much as possible, but at the same time I also wanted to look aesthetically as pleasing and cozy and magical as possible. And because I also film a lot in front of my bookshelves for my YouTube channel, I also try to make sure that the shelves where I sit in front of are filled with like the most beautiful books and the books that really say something about my personality. So my favorite books are like there. So that's kind of like the way I try to decorate and rearrange my books. So I hope that kind of like makes sense. My idea is going to be kind of like the same structure I had in my old apartment, which actually has worked pretty well for me for the last couple of months. And I'm going to have like my murder mystery, my thrillers like on the first two, history fiction going into classics all the way down here. Then I am not entirely sure how I will arrange this shelf, because I had normally my romance section on top of there, my romance fiction section. I'm not sure, I might actually put it a little bit lower. Then I have like my science fiction shelves, my Warrior Cat collection, Harry Potter all the way down. Then we go to the fantasy and romantasy, and those are like the categories that really kind of like get mixed onto the shelves the way it is aesthetically as pleasing as possible. In my eyes it's all fantasy, and I do not categorize romantasy as really as a different genre on my bookshelves because I want it to look pretty. So I try to arrange as pretty and aesthetically pleasing as possible. So that will be mostly fantasy and romantasy humbled together, I suppose. I want to make the living room a little bit cozy and pleasing for myself, so I'll probably let in some sunlight, put on some candles and simply dive in. As you can see, I'm pretty far actually. I kind of put almost everything back on the places that I was pretty happy about, and that kind of like counts mostly for the classics, historical fiction, and then we have the Agatha Christie murder mystery and thriller section, I suppose. A couple of other books are also in place that I really liked, and now I have to play around with these because I'm not entirely sure where I want to put those. So it's getting late and you probably see it as well because of the lighting. But anyhow, it's not even that late to be honest. It's like a little past 3, almost 3:30 I think it is. But here in the Netherlands it gets dark pretty quickly. Well, I'm actually thinking on keeping this as a Tolkien shelf. So I'm planning on putting here my Tolkien books. And I am also considering putting Sarah J Maas, all her works, under here as well. But I'm not entirely sure how to rearrange everything else because I'm not sure what to put next to Tolkien. I am currently considering Brandon Sanderson might be a good fit next to Tolkien because I also really love Brandon Sanderson. But at the same time I feel that when I sit in front of my bookshelves, fantasy is kind of like the main genre you see, and I would also like to display romance books. So I'm not entirely sure, like maybe I should get rid of this shelf, not get rid of them, but put this all the way up on the top and then the romance here. But wouldn't that look weird? Because then you have like in between all the fantasy, you have like romance. I kind of feel that currently the genre is kind of like flowing nicely into each other because I probably only have like one shelf of romance stories. So I could actually put that up all the way on the top because that shelf is still empty, and then have like the cozy romance underneath it. Then we get like science fiction-ish and then go into the young adult fantasy. And then we have one bookshelf full of adult fantasy and romantasy. That's kind of like how I had it. I'm not sure. I am currently still thinking. I might actually think that I might keep it this way. I'm also not entirely sure about this shelf. It's simply because there are other books that I would love to display and now they are going to be up there. So let me think for a sec. Even though I like the idea of having like these last 3 in the middle being like young adults, like Warrior Cats, Twilight, Harry Potter, like that's like kind of like my teenage years. So I kind of really enjoy those shelves. I think those books are also really stunning, but I have so many beautiful special editions from the romantasy and fantasies that I kind of like to display a little bit more. But at the same time, like when you stand up on eye level, it's more here instead of there. But if I film, you kind of see this more than this. So I'm not entirely sure what I want. Like, do I want it to be aesthetically beautiful for in case I film in front of the bookshelves, or always when I look at it? Because I could also put these 3 all the way up. Oh no, I can't. Well, I can put Harry Potter all the way up because I think the bigger book is able to fit on the biggest shelves as well, because that's kind of like one of the problems as well. Like these really big tall books, they need to go to certain shelves because otherwise it won't fit. I could rearrange it and have like everything else underneath. I might actually do that. are done. I am not entirely sure about everything yet because I did rearrange a couple of bookshelves, as you probably already saw. But I'm going to talk you through a little bit of how everything turned out. I promise there will be a full bookshelf tour after Christmas. I will actually film this and it will be uploaded probably somewhere in February because this one goes up in January. Because I'm going to put up the Christmas tree and all my Christmas decorations for now, and I do not want to put my normal book decorations on the bookshelves because they will be replaced with Christmas Today. So I'm leaving those in the boxes until after Christmas. But for now, let me talk to you guys about everything, how everything is looking. But first let me show you the books that I'm not putting back. If you saw my book on haul, these will look very, very familiar. These were like the books that I was unsure about. I was not sure if I would want to put them back on my bookshelf simply because I did enjoy them but didn't really love them, and I want to have bookshelves that I'm proud of. I want to have books that I love and want to reread again and again, and I don't want to have books that I felt meh about. I prefer to make people happy who actually will enjoy them a lot more than I do. So these are actually all the books that are not going back onto the bookshelves. Now let me show you the finished result. So here it is. I am really happy with it, but let me talk you through one bookshelf after the other. Here we have like the bookshelves that probably changed the least. I put my Agatha Christie, one of my favorite authors, all the way up. Then we have kind of like a mismatch of some horror, thriller, yeah, other murder mysteries, and I decorated with a Christmas book as well. We have some history after that, some history romance, and then we come to my classics. We have a full bookshelf of Jane Austen, which is my favorite author, together with Bronte sisters. And then all the way down we have all the classics as well, and my phone, which I accidentally left there. But yeah, like this one, the Jane Austen shelf, I love. I really enjoy the one underneath it as well because it has more of the poetry and other favorite classics. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, even though it stayed mostly the same. And then we have come to the two bookshelves where I kind of replaced a couple of things. On the top, again, the romance. I didn't want to put Harry Potter up there because I realized the sun is shining straight on top of it. And Harry Potter is very close, dear to my heart. So I do not want it to change color too much. And I do not mind if the romance books change from color a little bit. Then we have the Mortal Instruments series with some other ones. We have a little bit of a sci-fi kind of shelf with some warrior cats. Then we come to one of my favorite shelves, the warrior cat section, because I love the warrior cats so much. And then I decided to change it up a little. Let me get you a little bit closer. Here we have my fantasy collection. So here I am actually very happy with most of the bookshelves, except for this one. This one was like the bookshelf I wasn't happy with in my old apartment. Still not happy with this one. But for now it will simply do. I might rearrange some things here. Another shelf that I absolutely love. And then we come to my Tolkien and Sarah J. Maas collection. So yeah, I'm really happy with the end result. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As I said, a full bookshelf tour will be up like a month later. So I'll show you guys how many books I have. My favorite books, my collections. I will show that to you guys, everything, just in a month. But for now, I'm really happy with the result, how everything is looking. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe this gave you a little bit of an inspiration to tackle your own bookshelves as well. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do. And if you have no idea what to say, then leave me a sparkling emoji. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.